I mentioned earlier on, energy is a commodity that influences everything, and its undeniable influence on our global economy. Now, let's talk about, first of all, the engine of economies of energy commodities, like oil, natural gas, and coal. Now, these are the fuel that power our economies. They are essential inputs for industries, transportation, and even heating our homes. So it's no surprise that energy prices can significantly impact on our economy. Now, to businesses and consumers, for example, now when energy commodities, when the prices rise, businesses face higher production costs, and this can lead to increased prices for consumers, impacting on everything from transportation to feeding to clothing to utilities. And this situation can also squeeze profit margins potentially and lead to reduced economic growth. So the flip side on this is that it's a boom for producers on the one hand, and also surging prices can also be a boom for energy producing companies and also for the nations that produce these energies. So they can benefit from increased export revenues, potentially fueling investments and economic growth in those specific regions. Now, the geopolitical influence of energy security tensions are also intertwined. Countries are heavily reliant on energy imports. For example, we know in Nigeria, we still import the refined petrol products that we use for power our cars and buses, and these prices can be vulnerable to price fluctuations and supply disruptions, which are caused by geopolitical events. So now let's look at how we can actually move towards renewables in the energy sector, not just for electricity, but also to power our vehicles in that area. So on today's show, I'm going to be discussing with an expert how the energy sector is undergoing a significant transformation. Now, the growing focus is on sustainability, which is driving a shift towards renewable energy sources like solar and wind power for electricity, and also more electricity usage for cars and also our regular buses and transportation vehicles, and how the challenges and opportunities for global economy will also affect us here in Nigeria. So to discuss these issues affecting the energy sector with me is the CEO of PowerUp Nigeria. His name is Adetayo Adegbenle. He's joining us via Zoom this morning. So welcome to Market Insights.
It's always a pleasure to be on your program.
Okay, good to have you here. So we're talking about the energy sector, how the prices of energy has impacted on everything in the economy, and we're also looking at how the impact of energy commodities such as crude oil, the refined crude oil, and petroleum, how its prices are also affecting other sectors like clothing, feeding, electronics. Especially in Nigeria, you know, we have our inflation right now is over 31%, and energy prices globally are always increasing these days. And in Nigeria, it's something to be very concerned about. So first of all, before we talk about inflation, let's look at how these energy prices are its impacts currently on the Nigerian economy. And just in a few words, let's discuss that.
All right. That is an interesting topic, and it's a very well, I won't say complex, but it's kind of it's deep, and this is because a lot of in our field that an energy poor country is a poor country, and naturally this accounts basically for one of the states of the situation of the economy in Nigeria, and it affects everything that we do. There is nothing you want to do that you don't need one source of power or the other to do. So our lives is generally revolved, around energy. So it's very imperative then that whatever is happening, then again, there is also the issue of geopolitical issues that comes up and that affects all these things. For instance, the crisis that is ongoing presently between Iran and Israel affect the prices of petroleum products across the world, crude oil especially. Europe was thrown into crisis when Russia decided to attack Ukraine. This is because Russia happens to be the main source of gas that enters into Europe. So the war, of course, affects a lot of bilateral agreements, affects supplies of gas to the Western Europe, which automatically makes the prices of energy too to rise up. Now, when I say geopolitical, part of the thing is that maybe in some parts of Africa, of course, we use energy to cool here in Africa. They use energy to heat up their houses in Europe because of the cold weather and everything. So you see everything just kind of network and are interconnected in our lives. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Adetayo.
All right. I mean, that's my submission to your question. Our lives basically depends on energy, one form or the other. And everything that happens everywhere, especially those that are main sources of energy, it affects, the market and usually makes the price higher. I mentioned the case of Russia supplying gas to the Western Europe. But because of the war between Russia and Ukraine, it became an issue. And between Iran now and Israel, of course, price of crude oil too has shot up. I think about 130 per barrel or something, $130 per barrel. I think that was the last price that I noticed. So that I tracked. So yes, our life usually depends on energy. Everything we do, industries depends on energy, eating depends on energy, cooling depends on energy, even our feeding depends on energy.
So Mr. Adetayo, now, how can businesses mitigate the risk associated with rising energy costs? As you know, not just for large companies, but also for small businesses. Now, how can they manage this rising energy costs to actually handle their businesses every day?
Difficult to say industries should manage energy costs. They need the energy definitely, and their energy needs is not dependent on how would I put it? The energy need depends on an outside market that they cannot control. So if you need diesel to run your factories, the worst, or don't we say the worst thing you can do is to reduce the amount of diesel, and which also impacts on your productivity. So the same thing applies to gas. If you need gas, in a particular volume of gas to run your industries, the worst thing you can do is to reduce the amount of gas that you need. But that also now means that there's going to be a carry-on effect, because once prices of energy increases, it also affects the prices of production, and it also affects the prices of the product that comes out at the end.
So now, how with this growing demand for energy in global economies? Yes, I understand what you're saying, that businesses actually need these things. So we need it for transportation. We need it to power up the machines that produce goods also. But now, how will this growing demand for energy in developing economies impact the global energy prices? Because I feel like in this part of the world, yes, concession perhaps can be given to us to actually maybe because we're still a developing country, help to reduce the price we purchase our energy in terms of refined petroleum, for instance. So to actually help us to become more, perhaps when things are a bit more balanced or stable for us, then we can now start competing with other countries in terms of energy prices. But for now, how can our increase for energy actually help to, perhaps we can actually dictate how this price can actually be, how this price can be fixed, or how we can actually call what kind of price tag the energy should be given at the moment?
I think where the major issue is here is that the energy market is an international market. So it's not like you can isolate yourself. For instance, if you recall recently, the Minister of Power was saying, oh, why are we paying for gas in dollars? Because gas is our own, blah, blah, blah. But you see, where the problem lies is that all the investment that has gone to gas exploration are not in Naira. They're all in dollars. So, but notwithstanding, this does not mean that the federal government cannot come up with policies.
Now let's take a look at the selling price for the Naira against other foreign currencies this morning, 15th April. So let's look at how the dollar, the pound sterling, and the euro is selling against other Nigerian, how Nigerian currencies are selling against those foreign currencies. So the official CBN rate for the dollar for this morning, 15th of April, is 1,000 Naira. So the Naira is currently selling at 1,000 Naira to $1. And in the parallel market, that's the black markets, the unofficial rate is 1,150 Naira to $1. So that's the price. And that's a difference of 150 Naira. So we can all see that for the dollar, the price is actually coming down. And then for the pound sterling, the CBN rate is 1,267 Naira. And in the black market is 1,500 Naira. So the difference is 233 Naira. That's the price for the pound sterling. And the euro, the price right now at the CBN rate is 1,085 Naira. And the parallel market is 1,280 Naira for the euro. So there's a difference between the official CBN rates and the parallel market, a difference of 195 Naira. So those are our market rates this morning, our money rates this morning for dollars, pound sterling, and euro. So that's my time this morning on Market Insights as I discuss these issues with you. I look forward to more discussions on the economy, not just the Nigerian economy, but the global economy on Market Insights. Thank you very much for joining me and for watching me on this program. Many thanks, and do stay tuned to the next program on SOUQ News Television. I am your host, Lavina Emma.